Hey church family, you're watching Izzy in Christ. I know it's been a while, I've been away. I was busy getting married. Yay! Finally, it's done. I'm telling you right now, I feel so much relief from just all the planning, all the spending, all the just craziness. It's a lot of work. Honestly, if you're gonna get married, really think if this is something you want to do, because I'm telling you, it is crazy, and it's worth it if it's the one for you, and he or she, depending on your gender, if he's truly going to be there every step of the way, then yeah, it's worth it. So this video is called I Was My Own Idol, and I'll break that down. I'll try not to make this video too long because I know I have a tendency to ramble a lot. But basically, the reason I felt like I wanted to talk about this was because it's closely related to figuring out what marriage actually is. So first, I have to go back into my testimony. I'm pretty sure I mentioned things about my ex and how, you know, I basically treated that whole relationship like an idol. I don't think I ever really quite went into detail about that. And what I really started to confront, I guess, shortly after, actually, no, not shortly after, maybe like a couple years after we broke up, is that it wasn't even about him being part of that idol so much as it was about myself. And it's really quite scary just how easily we can esteem ourselves in situations when we really think we're thinking about other people. I was so deceived, it was crazy. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I had to learn and discover that loving someone is about truly putting them before yourself. And I didn't understand that at the time when I was with my ex. I literally was in it for myself, and I couldn't see that. And that's what I guess made me realize, like, over the years, that I really wasn't ready for marriage or a relationship for that matter. Yeah, I was an idolater. I had many idols. I wanted to share a little bit of scripture. Exodus chapter 20, verse 3-6 says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." And anytime you esteem something or make something greater than God in your life, then yeah, you have a God before him. And I couldn't see that at the time. And then Genesis chapter 1, verse 27 says, "So God created man in his own image." But what I was doing and I didn't realize it, is I was making God in my own image, because I believed that God, you know, was on my side. And I'm not saying that he wasn't, but he wasn't on the side of my sin. He wasn't condoning my wrong behavior. He wasn't condoning my bad thinking, my self-righteous and selfish behavior. He was not okay with any of that. And I didn't know that at the time. I just have to drink a little bit of hot water, excuse me. It's so good for my throat. I still have this cough. I'm not sure what's going on. I went to the doctor to try to figure out what's going on. But I'm probably gonna have to get a second opinion because he says it's postnasal drip. But I'm like, yeah, I've had postnasal drip for years. So, and this is the first time I've ever had a cough this bad. It's weird. Anyway, let me continue with what I was sharing. So when I was an idolater, I literally was all about my job, my money, my apartment. About the biggest one was maybe my relationship with my ex. And then of course there was myself, which all those other things, my job, money, apartment, and relationship, were like subcategories of my idol, which was myself, because everything was about me. And I didn't realize it at the time. Like, I just thought that, you know, I was just doing my thing, my own thing. And the thing is, when you're a Christian, it isn't about your thing. You don't have a thing without God. And I mean, I'm quoting Myron Golden here, but it's so true. Like, all of that stuff, it's like secondary, because God is number one, and God can take any one of those things away as he pleases, and he will do that if he has called you. So, and that's exactly what he did with me. You know, I mean, my job wasn't the greatest job in the world, but I felt powerful because, you know, I was working 40 hours a week, and I was, you know, I was living the life. You know, I could pay my apartment, I could buy whatever food I wanted, I could go out as often as I wanted. And yeah, you know, I was living it up, you could say, even though it wasn't like, you know, a career, like my career of choice per se. And yeah, I had money, even though, you know, I've never really been somebody who sees money as a great thing or whatever, but I felt liberated at knowing that it was my money and no one was going to tell me how I should or should not spend it. And I felt good because I learned what it is to save money, what it is to manage your money, so to speak. And that somehow made me feel like a big independent woman. And so no one could tell me anything. And then, yeah, my apartment made me feel so independent, and I still feel special owning my apartment, but not in the way that I was thinking before. And then, of course, my relationship with my ex, you know, he wasn't exactly the guy of my dreams, but I don't know. I think the reason it felt so special in part anyway was because I was able to get his attention enough that he did desire me. I flirted with him like crazy, and it eventually did get the attention I wanted because he would tell me about the girls that he liked, and I sort of, you know, like, I was jealous, but, you know, I knew that if I had just flirted with him the right way, it would get his attention, and it worked. I'm not proud of that, by the way, and I'm sorry, honey, if you're watching this, if my husband is watching this. I know he doesn't like to hear stories about that, but I was just so lost, and I'm not even proud of the way I acted during that time. I'm really not. In fact, I wish I had just left him alone. I hadn't really made any effort to try to get his you know, his attention, because it's not like he was really trying at first to get my attention either. Maybe he was, I don't know, but going back, he seemed kind of indifferent, so I don't know. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, all of these things were like huge idols, and then I was the biggest idol because everything was about me. Like, I went into that situationship, you know, because I was thinking of like, what could I get out of it, you know? And it's so sad to say that for those 5 years, that's all that was going on in my head, that it's like, well, he's supposed to be there for me. He's supposed to do this and he's supposed to do that. And like, you know, I'm the woman in this relationship, so I'm supposed to be receiving everything from him. It's all about me. And this is what the media sells you to, and it is so wrong. It is so wrong. You know, I had the job. Again, it wasn't like the most fancy job, but at some point the money started not being enough, because I mean, I was working in retail. Like, retail doesn't pay you that well. You don't even get tips working in retail. And then, yeah, like the money started not being enough. I started to hate my job, actually. I hated the people that I was working with. I couldn't stand just the environment. It was just this negative place. And then, yeah, my apartment, like, I started to not be able to afford it. Like, I couldn't afford food at one point. It was so bad that it was like, I didn't realize it then, but God was like picking off each and every one of those idols. And I guess I didn't realize it then, but he was trying to get my attention. And I think by the time my relationship with my ex really started to fail, that's when I started to pay attention, because I was so distracted. I just thought, okay, well, I'm going through a hard time, you know, things are just rough right now. But no, things just went from bad to worse. And because I had this expectation that my ex was going to just get me out of my problems and be there for me and fix everything, like, it was a huge rude awakening to realize he wasn't going to do any of it. He didn't care. And I wasn't treating him right anyway, because I mean, honestly, and ladies, let me tell you this, if you're watching, a man is not going to go out of his way for you if you're treating him like garbage. If you're putting him down, if you're talking down to him, you're disrespecting him, he's not going to go out of his way for you. So understand that the media is wrong. Understand that the movies are wrong. The way that, you know, women in sitcoms always humiliate her man like that, that's inappropriate. We should not be treating our men that way. Yeah, you know, they might be very simplistic in the way that they think, but that doesn't mean it's okay for you to take advantage of them and talk down to them and disrespect them and hurt their feelings. They have feelings too. They might not always wear them on their sleeve, but they have a right to be treated with kindness, love, and respect the way you would like to be treated. So, but that being said, you know, I put myself above him, and I also put myself above God. And I couldn't see that. It was so hard for me to see that. And God showed me. I didn't realize just how selfish I was, how rude I was, how entitled I was. And the joke is, I thought I was wonderful. I thought I was this wonderful girl because, you know, I would sometimes, you know, buy food for my ex at like, I don't know, like name your fast food place here. You know what I mean? Like I would get him gifts every once in a while. And yeah, he, like, granted, how he treated the situation was not okay, but part of getting to know someone we love and care about is getting to know their character. And I didn't take the time to realize that my ex did not like being surprised. He preferred to know what he was getting in a gift as opposed to being surprised and then it's not what he likes. Me, I'm the total opposite. I like to be surprised. And so, I don't know, I guess in my mind, I sort of rationalized that, oh, well, you know, because I like to be surprised, I should surprise him. And I wanted to, you know, see his face light up and him to like basically shower me with compliments and, you know, be happy with me and whatever. And like, affection isn't won over because you do a nice deed for someone. That's just not how it works. I mean, sure, you can in some way treat the person nice and they will reciprocate that, but you should not be doing it because you want to get something out of it. It should not have selfish motives behind it. I was just so entitled. And, you know, my mentality was that, you know, my emotional, physical needs come first at the expense of others. And this is how I treated my ex as well. So even if we just had an argument, you know, he had to be the one who apologized. It was like, if I felt like I could apologize, then I will. And like, I'm sad to say that that's still something I kind of struggle with. I'm trying to get better about that. It's not easy for me. It is a pride issue. We should always apologize and hold ourselves accountable when we've done something wrong. But with my ex, I was horrible about that. And I treated it like, well, because I'm the woman, he should be the one who apologizes always. And that's all there is to it. But now, you know, I think after that whole process, I realized that loving others, and I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, like loving each other is not about pleasing yourself first. It's honestly about laying your life down for that other person, even when it's not comfortable. There were some things I was going to mention. Like when my ex and I broke up, is really when God showed me myself and just how much I was in it for just myself. Like, it's like he held up a mirror and showed me just how ugly I was to other people and to my ex, and just how much pride I had. And like, it was crazy just how much manipulation I used to use to make it seem like I was the victim in the situation, when in reality, sometimes he was in the right to be upset about something, and I just sort of manipulated the whole thing so that it seemed like he was the one at fault. Now, granted, he didn't always handle things well. He's human, but that doesn't mean we treat the situation like, oh, well, I'm just the victim because, just because you made me cry, etc. So Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12 says, God's word is sharper than any double-edged sword. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. And that is conviction. So in 2016, like, cause I know I talk about that in other videos, that's when, that's really when, like, I just completely decided to just stop being lukewarm. Had, you know, stopped having one foot in the world, and one foot in God. And I just said, you know what? Forget the world, forget these, superficial relationships, the superficial mentality that I have about how I treat others. And yeah, God was definitely showing me that, like, I needed some serious help. I needed to change a lot of the ways in which I thought. I repented and God began to work in me. I didn't see just how much he was changing me, but in 1 John chapter 1 verse 9, he says, oh, I didn't write the verse, sorry. I just said, because this is what came to mind. He was purifying me from my unrighteousness. If you guys want to go and read the verse after, I just didn't write it down because I felt like I didn't want to let go of these thoughts. I had to share this. But he was purifying me from my unrighteousness. Like, I just had a new attitude when it came to my relationships, not just my romantic ones, but my friendships too, even my own family, even though, you know, things didn't go over well with doing that with my family because I understand they're not saved. But, you know, I always have a heart to love my family the way I can, you know, in spite of the circumstances. And now I understand that thinking of others before myself is the Jesus thing to do. It's what Jesus would do. And it wasn't an easy lesson for me to do. And you know, at times I still fail. It's not like it was though. And I know that God prepared me for me to see this. And that's why God allowed me to meet my spouse when I did, because he realized that I had matured. Well, not realized, but he knew that I had matured enough to accept this step in my life, or this milestone. Like, I can't think of the right word to say, but basically God is not going to give you something that he does not feel you're ready for. And so I think I had to go through these trials with my ex, with my previous friendships, with just like my workplaces, because even that toxic attitude that I had was leaking into my workplace, and it was really bad. It was so bad. And like, I had to just allow God to just flash that mirror back to my face every once in a while for me to realize I can't continue like this. This has got to change. So anyway, I just want to let you know that God does not tolerate idols, and God certainly does not want us to be self-serving. Remember what 1 Corinthians chapter 13 says about love. It's not self-seeking. So if you're in a season where you're wanting to be married, maybe this is something you need to reflect on. Maybe this is something you have to think about. Pray about it. Ask God, I mean, am I too selfish to be married? Am I cursed to be single? No, being single is not a curse, but a lot of people tend to think it is. And maybe I'll make more videos about that, because I was single for 7 years, or maybe 8 years. I can't remember now. But yeah, I was single for quite a while, and I'm thankful that I was. As hard as some of those moments were, I'm thankful it happened, because I needed God to show me things about myself and about others that I wasn't seeing before. But anyway, I'll leave you with these thoughts. I know this video is very long. Thank you if you stayed all the way to the end. Please watch whatever videos over here, whatever videos over here. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave a card yet, but if I did, check it out. And or maybe it's over here. I don't remember. Either way, check it out, and we will see each other soon. Bye, church family. Love you.